Good morning to all. I hope you all are doing well and safe at your home. I, Ms. Gunjan Daswani from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group Kota, welcome you all to the revision class of English text, and today we are going to revise chapter number 1, that is Meeting Suzanne, chapter 3, that is The Starting Point, and poem 1, that is Dust of Snow, written by Robert Frost. So, first we are going to revise chapter number 1, that is Meeting Suzanne. Let's see the main characters of the story. Yannick, about whom the story is, or I can say he is the main protagonist of the story. Second is Amandine. Amandine is Uncle Bruno's daughter and Uncle Bruno, and the fourth one is Pablo Picasso. Now let's see what is the story about. So, story starts with the appearance of a boy named Yannick. So, the story starts with the appearance of a boy named Yannick whose mother used to like a painter that was Cezanne. According to his mother, he was the greatest painter in the world. So, he always wanted to meet him. So, let's see now second point, summer vacation at his uncle's place. So, to spend his summer vacations, he went to his uncle's place, and his uncle was having a small village inn, that is a hotel where people used to stay and eat at the same place only. So, that's a in Hindi we can call it a dhaba kind of a thing where people used to stay also. Okay. So, now summer vacation at his uncle's place, he used to help his uncle in his village inn. Now visiting of a special guest. So, he got to know there is going to be a visit of someone special, that is something he was very famous. He was very famous about something. Now what happened? Now Yannick actually he was he used to help his uncle in running his village inn, right? Whenever he used to go to his uncle's place. So unknowingly he just took off the tablecloth and just burnt it. So at this point of time, seeing this, Amandine scolded Yannick. So Amandine shouts at Yannick that why did you did this? This is the tablecloth on which the famous painter has painted something in return of the thing he used to like in our village inn. So, for fifth point, Amandine realized her mistake. How she realized her mistake, students? As Uncle Bruno came seeing this, like when she was shouting at Yannick, everyone in the restaurant was just staring at both of them only, and they just both stopped eating. Everyone in the restaurant just stopped eating and went silent that time. So after that, when Uncle Bruno came and he asked Amandine that have you told him about the tablecloth? So she replied, no, I haven't told him about this. So she realized her mistake because Yannick has done that thing unknowingly. So she realized her mistake and she started crying. So sixth point, Yannick went to the painter's house. Why Yannick went to the painter's house? Because he don't want Amandine to cry. He don't want to let Amandine cry and let Amandine be sad about something. So he went to the painter's house. Okay, who was the painter? Student, he was the painter that has came in their village inn as the special guest, as a famous person. Now seventh point, he was given a painting made by the painter. So the painter made a painting for him of sailing boats, because he asked him that what thing do you like? So he said, I like sailing boats. And when he went to his place, he asked him, are you Cezanne, the famous painter? So the painter replied, yes, can you make a painting for me? So he said, yes, I can. And he asked him, what do you like? What kind of a painting do you like? So he asked, I like sailing boats. So he made a picture of sailing boats of the Paris. Okay. Now eighth point, the painter was none other than Pablo Picasso, the greatest painter in the world. So finally when the painter used to add their name in the last, right? So in that picture, in the last, there was written Picasso. So he asked the painter that why have you written Picasso, because your name is Cezanne. So like he said it's nothing, but now we got to know that who was the painter. He was Pablo Picasso. So children, by this story we can conclude that we should not lose humanity. At that point of time when Yannick came to his place, he must have said that I am not Cezanne, but he didn't did this thing. Because he showed humanity that time towards the small boy, because the small boy has came so far to just for the single painting. Okay. Now this was the story. Now we are going to read the internal questions. Hold a pencil in your hand and mark these questions. Question 1. How does the writer show us that Yannick is not impressed by the famous man? Students, this question is given on page number 1. On the left hand side you can see below the word meanings. This question is written over there. You can mark this question. This is your first internal question, and the answer to this one is, whoever he was, he looked like an ordinary man without much hair. So writer shows us that Yannick is not impressed by the famous man. Like he was curious that who was that famous man, but he was not very much impressed because he hasn't even came across that man. So whoever he was, he just thought that he looked like an ordinary man without much hair. So that was just the normal thing that shows that he was not impressed by the famous man. Now question number 2. How does the writer show a change in the atmosphere of the room when Amandine shouts at Yannick? So what was the change in the atmosphere when Amandine was shouting at Yannick? Like I told you in the previous slide also, that everyone in the restaurant stopped eating and went silent. So when she was shouting at Yannick, that time everyone just stopped eating and just went silent, and they were just staring at both of them. Now we are going to do the copy work, and this question is on page number 2, left hand side. You can mark this question on page number 2. Okay. Now moving to the copy work. Now we are going to start with question number 1. What, according to Uncle Bruno, was the unforgettable thing that had happened to Yannick? So what, according to Uncle Bruno, was the unforgettable thing that happened to Yannick? Let's see what is the answer. The unforgettable thing that had happened to Yannick was that a great artist had made him a painting to show his appreciation for Yannick's creamy brulee. So Yannick's creamy brulee is a kind of a dish. It's a kind of an English dish. So he made Yannick made a special dish for the special person, for the famous guest who was coming to visit their village inn. So he had got an appreciation for that, as the famous person or the visitor has made a painting on the tablecloth in reward for that dish. Okay. Now question number 2. Why did Uncle Bruno ask Yannick to look on the bright side of things? So why did Uncle Bruno ask Yannick to always see the positive side of the things? Why he said this to him? So Uncle Bruno asked Yannick to look on the bright side of the things because doing so would help him face a bad situation. Like he told him to be positive in every situation because it will help him to face the bad situations also. Now third question, who was going to visit the inn? Was he someone important? How do you know? Now who was going to visit the inn? A famous man was going to visit the inn. It was clear that this man was an important person because there was a bustle in the inn, and Amandine told Yannick that the inn's best customer would be visiting. So the famous man was was going to visit the inn that time, and it was clear because everyone was in hustle and bustle that time. Like everyone, like when a guest used to come at your place, you have to prepare for so many things, right? So at that time also, because he was their best customer, so they have to prepare a lot of things. So there was a bustle in the inn. Now question number 4. What did Yannick decide to do and why? What does this say about him? So what did Yannick decide to do and what does this show about him? What kind of image it portrays about him? So let's see. Yannick decided to make things right and make Amandine happy again. This tells us that he is thoughtful and cares about other people's feeling. So as Amandine was crying because he has got a scolding from his father, so Yannick decided that he will make things right, he will do everything right now and he will make Amandine happy again. So what this thing portrays that he cares about other people's feeling also, and he is very thoughtful. Okay. Now let's see question number 5. How did Uncle Bruno comfort Yannick? So how did Uncle Bruno comfort Yannick? Uncle Bruno comforted Yannick by saying that the famous painter had appreciated the creamy brulee made by Yannick. So the drawing was for Yannick and he was lucky to have held it, even if only for a moment. So what has happened, like Uncle Bruno comforted Yannick by saying, as I told you in the above question also, that Uncle Bruno has comforted Yannick by saying that the painter has made a painting on the tablecloth in appreciation for that dish that he had made for the special guest. So he said that he was very lucky to have held it because he was the famous painter in the world, and it would just, even if it is for a moment only, because he just burnt it, right? So it was just for a moment only, but it was something very happy. Now question number 6. What did Yannick do when he heard Amandine cry? How did she react? So what did Yannick do when he heard Amandine cry? When he was going to Amandine's room, what he heard that Amandine was crying. So how did she react to this situation? So Yannick felt sad and upset, hence he went into her room and apologized for inadvertently upsetting her. Amandine understood and said that she was more upset because she had upset her father. She felt sorry for impulsively shouting at Yannick. So Yannick felt sad and upset because he thought that she was crying because of him, because she has got a scolding from his father, from her father, right? Because she has got a scolding from her father. That is why, he thought that she is upset because of him. But when he went into her room, she told her that she was more upset because her father scolded him for the first time, and she said sorry also because she impulsively shouted at Yannick. Now reference to context. Read the lines and answer the question. Did Yannick know that he sketches something on the tablecloth and leaves it behind for us? So this line was said by whom? Who speaks the above lines and to whom? So Uncle Bruno speaks the above lines. He speaks to his daughter Amandine. So this line he said when Amandine shouted at Yannick, and when Uncle Bruno came, when he saw, so he asked Amandine, her daughter, that did Yannick know that he sketches something on the tablecloth and leaves it behind for us? So he said this line on the situation that was going on there to his daughter Amandine. Now B, who sketches on the tablecloth? So who has sketched on the tablecloth? The most famous person in the village sketches on the tablecloth in the end. So the most famous person who was their special guest for that day and the best customer, so that person has sketched on the tablecloth. So see, why does he sketch on the tablecloth? Why does he have sketched on the tablecloth? Let's see. He does that to show his appreciation of the food he eats in the inn. So that thing is told by me in the above questions also, that he painted something, he sketched something on the tablecloth because he liked the food made by Yannick, and in appreciation to this he painted or he sketched something on the tablecloth. Now we are going to start with chapter number 3, the starting point. So the main characters of this chapter, the starting point is Milkha Singh. Milkha Singh, you also known as him as the Flying Sikh, right? Second is Havaldar Gurudev Singh, and third is Brigadier S.P. Vora. So now let's see what is the story, and as you all know by seeing the main character, that this story is basically about Milkha Singh, who was also known as Flying Sikh. So he has achieved a lot of things and he had won so much of awards now because of his hard work and dedication towards his work. Now let's see the second point. In this story we will be talking about the 3 fortunate incidents that changed his life, the 3 lucky incidents that has a great effect on his life. So the first incident has been happened when he was just a newly recruit person in the armed forces. So when he was in the morning, an announcement was made about a 6-mile race which was going to be held, and the top 10 winners of that race would be given the glass of milk daily and exempted from the fatigue duties. Right? What is fatigue duty? A duty of like household chores. These are the duties of what? Fatigue duties we can call them, like washing or like cleaning, dusting. These are called household chores work. So these are the things we can call as fatigue duties. So they will be exempted, they will be free from fatigue duty. So he was 6th in that race and he has won that thing because in his childhood he has got so much of he was having lack of financial support, so he could not afford luxurious things for himself. So that is why that was the thing that motivated him to achieve a glass of milk every day, because he didn't get that in his childhood. Now Havaldar Gurudev Singh's guidance. So Havaldar Gurudev Singh guided him. He was the greatest supporter of Milkha Singh, because he used to support him a lot. Now I can say like Gurudev Singh was a taciturn kind of person who does not talk much, but by his outer appearance he looked like that he was very rude. But in inside he has a soft heart, like he was a very soft hearted person. Now like he has a great impact on Milkha Singh's life. Now so he went to a big brigade meet which happened in Hyderabad, and in that brigade meet there was going to have an event of 400-meter race. 400-meter event was going to happen, and that was the time the second incident happened. And when he went there, the day was very bright and clear, and he saw people who were wearing a vest. I have told you in the chapter also that what is vest, and on that it was written India. Now that was the moment when he decided that what he wanted to do in his life. He wanted to make his country proud of him. He wanted to wear that vest to achieve something for the country, and that was the reason that was the eureka moment for him. Now what happened, like when he participated in the race, he came fourth. He was disappointed, but he was not disheartened. He didn't lose his hope, and now after that he worked a lot more. He did hard work, and that time he was spotted by Brigadier S.P. Vora. Now after that day he was exempted from the fatigue duties also. Now he got special attention for his grooming, for his trainings also. So this was about this chapter. This chapter was about Milkha Singh, and in this chapter we can conclude by saying if there is a will, there is a way. So now we are going to mark the internal questions of this chapter. Let's see. Question 1. What is Milkha Singh also known as? This is given on page number 20 on the first line itself, in the introduction part, which is given on the first page itself of this chapter. So you can mark this question on first line, and the answer is also given on first line only, that is page number 20. Milkha Singh is also known as the Flying Sikh. Now question number 2, what is Milkha Singh best remembered for till date? Now what is he remembered for till date? Let's see. He is best remembered for his 4th place finish in the 400 meters final at 1960 Olympic Games. And this question is also given on page number 20. You can see in the introductory part, from that first paragraph, the last 4th line, you can mark this answer over there. Now question number 3, what makes Milkha Singh to bow his head in respect? So this question is on page number 21. So what was the thing when he used to remember about someone? Who was that someone? So even today when he thinks of Havaldar Gurudev Singh, Singh's danda, he bow his head in respect. As I told you that Havaldar Gurudev Singh has a great impact on Milkha Singh's life, right? So whenever he remembered his danda, because he was quite a very strict man when it comes to work. So Havaldar Gurudev, when he remembered about his danda, he bowed his head in respect. So these are internal questions of this chapter. Now we are going to start with the copy work. Now first question, why was Milkha Singh overwhelmed with joy on finishing 6th? So why was he very much happy? Why was he overwhelmed with joy, like on finishing 6th in the 6-mile race that happened? So Milkha Singh was overwhelmed with joy on finishing 6th because of all cheering he received from friends and strangers. Because he came 6th, as I told you that the top 10 winners of the race would be exempted from the fatigue duty and would be given a glass of milk every day, right? So after that thing, after he came 6th in the race, now we can say that he was among the top 10 winners, and he was very happy because he got a lot of appreciation from his friends and his strangers, and he got a lot of cheering among everyone. Okay. Question number 2, how did the Eureka moment help him? So the Eureka moment helped him to decide what he wanted to run for India and make his country proud. So now the Eureka moment, I told you that the moment on that he decided that what he wanted to do in his life, he wanted to make his country proud. Okay, so that was the Eureka moment, and how and the Eureka moment helped him, how we have got to know in this question. Now we are going to move forward to the another question, that is question number 3. Who was Gurudev? Why was Milkha Singh so grateful to him? So who was Gurudev? So Gurudev was the instructor in the army. He trained new recruits, but he was also a good runner who participated in races. So who was Gurudev? I told you that Havaldar Gurudev Singh was their instructor in the who trained new recruits in the armed forces. So but he was also a good runner, and he used to participate in the races or in the events that happened that time. So Milkha Singh was grateful to him because Gurudev constantly pushed the trainees. He ran with them during training sessions, and he encouraged them to run for the regiment. His guidance inspired Milkha. So as I told you that Gurudev Singh has a great impact on Milkha Singh's life. He was very much grateful to him because he always used to push trainees to do good, run and to do their work. So and he encouraged them, or he always encouraged them. So that was the thing that because of that Milkha Singh was very grateful to him. Now question number 4, what was the big treat that Milkha Singh looked forward to, and what does he call it? Why does he call it a big treat? So what was a big treat for him? Let's see. The big treat that Milkha Singh looked forward to was getting a glass of milk every day during training. He calls it a big treat because his childhood suffered with great want and deprivation. So as I told you that in the 6-mile race, he is going to the top 10 winners are going to get a glass of milk every day, and that was something very much for him, because he has not got these things in his childhood. He had suffered a lack of support, lack of financial support, and he didn't got so many things in his childhood. So that was the thing that he wanted to have as a daily, as in his daily routine. So the glass of milk every day was a great achievement for him that he got in the 6-mile race. Now question number 5. What rule of thumb did Milkha Singh follow in practicing for 400-meter race? Why did he call it a rule of thumb? So what was the rule of thumb for Milkha Singh, and why did he call it as a rule of thumb? Now Milkha Singh's rule of thumb was to run one round at highest speed possible, then rest and then run another, and he called it a rule of thumb because it was a general idea that he was using to practice instead of any specific techniques. So Milkha Singh's rule of thumb was that he used to take a one round for 400 meter, and then after that he will rest and then he will run another round. So this was the thing, that this was the rule of thumb for him, because that was nothing very special or nothing, it doesn't have any special technique. It was just like practice, rest. Okay, so this was the rule of thumb for Milkha Singh. So question number 6. How did Milkha Singh's meeting with Brigadier S.P. Vora change his life? So that was the third incident that we talked about in the last, right? So Brigadier S.P. Vora's decision gave Milkha more time to practice on field, better facilities, a nutritious diet, and a special attention for his grooming. This led him to innumerable opportunities, which eventually allowed him to fulfill his dream of running for India. So after Brigadier Vora spotted him in the night while he was practicing, so that thing changed his life, because after that Brigadier S.P. Vora has spotted that he used to do a lot of hard work, and because of that he now got more time to practice. He got special attention also because for his grooming, for his training, and he got a nutritious diet, and he got more time to practice to achieve something for his country, and he got this led him to innumerable opportunities, and now he got so many opportunities to make his country proud of him. So this was chapter 6. Now let's see the reference to context of this chapter. Read the lines and answer the questions. I strongly believe that he was instrumental in motivating me to strive to become a world-class athlete. So who is he mentioned in the above line? So the narrator is talking about his instructor Havaldar Gurudev Singh. So the narrator, who was Milkha Singh, he is talking about his instructor Milkha Singh because he guided him a lot, right? Question B, how did he motivate the narrator? So he would constantly prod the runners to run with a danda, shouting them that they were running for the regiment. So he used to push them forward for everything, and he used to encourage them a lot. Like he used to have a danda in his hand, and he used to be like that you have to run, you have to do practice a lot. Now that is the thing that motivated the narrator. Now question C, how does the narrator feel about this person? So the narrator's heart fills with respect and admiration for this person when he thinks of him even years later. So whenever he thinks about him, his heart is filled with respect, and whenever he thinks about his danda, he bowed his head in respect. This is the gesture he showed when you are very much grateful to a person. That was Gurudev Singh. Now we are going to start, that was chapter 3, now we are going to start with poem 1, that is Dust of Snow. Now we are going to start with poem 1, Dust of Snow, written by Robert Frost. So in stanza 1, the poet is very sad about something, and he is sitting under a hemlock tree which represents which is a poisonous tree. So he is sitting under that tree and he is very sad and he is very depressed that time, and that time what happened, that a crow just shook off the dust of snow, like a small particles of snow on his head. So that thing in the second paragraph says, the poet says that thing changed his thinking, and that thing has changed his mood to become too happy, and now he got that now I am not going to be sad for the same thing for the whole day. Now I am going to utilize the whole day, the rest of the day that is left. Now I am going to utilize the rest of the day, and now he was revived. Now the poet was revived and he was ready to utilize the whole day. So this is poem Dust of Snow. Now we are going to start with question and answers of this chapter, that the poem. Question 1, what has changed the mood of the poet in the poem? So what thing has changed the mood of the poem? The sudden shower in the form of dust of snow changed the poet's mind. So the a sudden shower of the dust of snow which was done by the crow. So that was the thing that changed his mood. Now question 2, what is a dust of snow? So what is the dust of snow? A dust of snow means the fine particles of snow, the small particles of snow. So that is dust of snow. Question 3, what does the poet want to convey through the poem Dust of Snow? So what he wanted to convey? Though this poet Robert Frost wants to convey that the little things in life can make huge changes in our life. The simple things we do can make all the difference and brighten a person's day. So the small things can change the way of thinking of in your life. Now the small things can make a huge change, a big change in your life. Now the simple things we do makes some difference in our life. And though we say that crow signifies, or a hemlock tree signifies the bad and the depressive mood, but that they were the person that they were the creatures who just did something that made poet revive his energy, and he got to know that he is going to utilize the rest of the day. So question 4, the poet says that some part of the day was saved. What does the use of this word tell you? Now the poet says that the some part of the day was saved. Why did he say this? In using the word save, the poet tells us that he respects nature and looks to it for peace and happiness. So in this line, the poet described that he respects nature and look forward for its peace and happiness. Okay, so the small things that happen in the nature can change a person's mood. Now reference to context. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. So answer the following questions. Question 1, write the name of the poem and the poet. So this context is of the poem The Dust of Snow, and the poet is Robert Frost. So the question 2, where do you find the poet and the crow in the beginning of the poem? So where do you find the crow and the poet and the crow in the beginning of the poem? In the beginning of the poem, the poet is standing under a hemlock tree and the crow is sitting on the branch of the hemlock tree. The poet is standing under what? Under the hemlock tree, and the crow is sitting on the branch of that hemlock tree. So 3rd, what does the crow and the hemlock tree signify? What does the crow and hemlock tree signifies? Let's see, the crow signifies the depressive and sorrowful mood of the poet, and hemlock tree is a poisonous tree. So both these signify that the poet was not in a good mood. So both these things, the crow and the hemlock tree describes about the depressive and sorrowful mood of the poet. So that we can say that he was not in a good mood. So this was the revision of chapter 1, chapter 3 and poem 1. Please revise it thoroughly. Stay fit, stay at your home. Thank you.